This is Byron Nicole White, and Tom Ferry, and you are tuned into episode 215 of The Real Word.
Word is up.
Word.
Back.
It's good to be in the house.
Word.
Is this my second show with you guys?
Yes.
This is your second show.
Second time at the Mohegan.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's
that's right.
We gotta
That's
do it.
right.
We do it somewhere else next time.
Come to Dallas. Come to California.
We are.
Let's
She's
go
coming
in.
to Dallas. She got an
Coming.
Airbnb for the summit
Okay, sweet.
in
Like
August.
rooftop deck. Like I'm
All
doing
right.
it. Like if I'm leaving, like I'm like
No,
committing.
you got to do it
Yeah.
right.
You
Okay.
gotta.
All
You
week.
might want to send me where you're at so I can give you a little download on like where you're at.
Yeah, can we
Uh-oh.
cancel that?
Yes.
We're
Okay.
definitely going to run it
Why
by
you're
Tom.
telling me no?
Yeah.
We
Well, I just
may-
don't know where you're at. What if you're like in a bad part of town or like not a super fun part of town?
Maybe
or-
we'll just buy a Picasso.
I would tell you
for
where it is,
the
but
summit.
Oh, shout out to Austin. Is this how your show always goes? I've listened to it a few times.
We're
but
What do you mean? How's it
just
always goes?
Shout out everything.
Shout out
No.
everything. Just
No, not
it's like
typically.
sponsors.
And
We have no sponsors.
we literally only have Tom for one segment.
One
So
segment.
So let's go.
I want to jump right into it. We're going to put the chart up. Bobby's going to edit this in. This is the generational cohorts. Cohorts.
Cohorts.
Cohorts.
Oh,
Yes.
this is
Yeah.
the
At a
this is
glance,
the best part
me
of the
reading
show.
and talking
Yeah.
is the worst
It's
thing I've
amazing.
ever of all time.
Cohorts.
Cohort.
All right, U.S. population by age in millions. You can
Yes.
see that the millennials are
Yep.
by far the largest group.
Right.
The generational group is bigger than baby boomers, which
Yes.
could be surprising to some
Yes.
people. And baby boomers, the line is actually going down.
Yes.
Right? Which
They're aging out.
they're aging out. It's obvious. Gen X is a small group.
Mhm.
And so alignment for brokers, because you shared a
Mm-hmm.
stat today with the group. We're at the William Ravis convention in Mohegan Sun. And you shared a stat that showed people select off of trust.
Yes.
Brokerages was 2.5%. Not brokerages.
Brand.
I'm sorry.
Brand.
Let me rephrase
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Brand.
Yes.
So the question is, how do brokerages, we're talking about it, team leaders are talking about, Nicole and I, other team leaders across the country, building both personal brand, team brand. Specifically, how do brokerages build a brand that resonates with this huge millennial buying opportunity that is coming over the next 5 and 10 years? That is happening now, too.
So there's a lot to unpack there in a 1 minute show. So
Yeah.
I'll give you a couple of thoughts.
You have
First,
a 5-minute segment, by the way, Tom.
Okay, good. All right. So breathe. First thing I would say is know thy customer. So I would think about creating avatars for who is the buyer, who is the seller, where are they in the journey of their life. You start talking about the millennials. Some of them are getting divorced right now. Think about that. Like millennials are getting divorced, right?
Yeah,
They're in
sure.
their 40s and they're like, this didn't work out, right? Some of them might just be starting their first family.
right.
But ultimately,
Such
you
a
have
big
to,
group.
It
Such
is
a
because
big
it's an
group.
enormous group,
Yeah.
right? But they are in a massive cycle of acquisition right now. They are buying houses, they are buying new cars, they're signing their kids up for schools. Like they're in all of that sort of joy and fun and craziness of life. So we should back up and say, if you're watching this right now and you have any hesitation around what's going to happen in the real estate business for the next 5 to 7 years, take a breather because the demand is going to be monstrous. The home price appreciation index we just talked about is basically showing home prices all the way until 2027 going straight up, right? Yes, there's wars. Yes, there's inflation. Yes, there's definite economic issues happening right now in our country, but housing right now is looking really good for the next 5 to 7 years. So back to your question, if I was a broker or a team, the first thing is I'd say, okay, so who is my ideal customer? Who am I trying to attract, right? What is it about this segment? Then you always start with, what is the pain that they experience? So what are the pain points of a first-time buyer? What's the pain points of a first-time seller? And if I can start to get into the weeds of their pain, into
Right.
the experience of their pain, the language of the pain, how it makes them feel, and I can start messaging that out, whether it's in social or an email or on radio or in direct mail, like any one of the mediums works, right? Because it's all going to hit them. I'd obviously go hard on social.
Yeah.
Right.
If you can speak that language, it's going to resonate with them. The mistake that we've talked about for years in marketing is we're so busy trying to have the world like us.
Sure.
You
Yeah.
don't need the world to like you.
No.
There's going to be 5.5, 6 million transactions. That's two sides, call it, 11 to 12 million transactions in the US this year. You want 1,000 to like you, right? You don't need 5 million to like you. So the more you can narrow and speak directly to their model of the world, right? That's when you start to win.
I like how you threw teams in there to my brokerage question.
Sure.
Because teams and
Yes.
brokerages are doing one thing really well where they know how to attract and create an offering
Yes.
for the agent.
Correct.
Right. And so when we're speaking to the millennial.
Mm-hmm.
And in a big, you can say big team or a big brand.
Right.
The messaging, to your point, has to be crystal clear.
Yes.
But is it also creating the product that solves that move potentially?
Yes.
So it's layering up other, even businesses around what you do on the transaction.
Right.
Is that right?
100%. But I want to go back to the messaging for a second. Do you remember the Zillow commercial where the guy's on the laptop and he's clearly in fatigue, so you assume he's somewhere around the world, and the wife is with the kid and they're like looking at homes. Oh, not this one. Oh, not that one. Oh my God,
Yes.
like super late. Oh, honey, I got to go. Close the laptop. Like you assume he's going off to fight in a battle. Like it's like your heart is just like,
He's busy.
this is a commercial. Like this, what is this, right? And then all of a sudden, boom, laptop opens again. This is the one. Yeah, this is the one. Yeah. Okay, baby, let's do it. And he's clearly halfway around the world. And then all of a sudden, it fast forwards to them opening the door and the husband in fatigues is sitting inside the house. I started crying.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That was a real estate ad, right? Like, I think people are afraid to take punches like that. They're afraid to go super narrow and specific. Because was that only for military families? Or could that also be for the wife that's busy working so hard right now, and
or the husband that's being relocated,
or the husband
and
that's being
he's now across
relocated,
the world, but the wife is waiting for the kids to finish school.
Right.
Yeah.
You know who
Right.
did this, and we talked about it on the pod a bunch during the pandemic? Your personal client, Tim Smith.
Yep.
He did this with his videos.
100%.
Really well.
Yeah.
Right. He wasn't afraid to throw the punches at, like, if you look at a couple of his videos of being a single guy living in a house.
In the
right?
house, yep.
You know what I'm talking about?
As he's walking
Yeah.
by it with his family. Yeah.
Right.
Super.
Right.
I'm
right.
actually-
Well, we saw the man one before we knew that there was the woman one because we
Yes.
were like, "Ah, you gotta be kidding me.
Uh-huh.
This is like."
Uh-huh.
But then
you
we
had to
found out
watch
that there
them
was
both. Well, because the Facebook comments were out of control.
out
sure.
of control.
Okay, but
And I
that
like
means
that.
that means you struck a chord,
Yes.
right? Positive or negative, doesn't matter. Just chatter. Just talk about it.
I love when people, because like if we give like polls or whatever,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
always like D or like none of the above, and like I'm like yes.
As we're
Like,
Yes.
as
I
we're
love none
talking
of the
about it,
above.
because Nicole and I dug in on a prior real word to the numbers that single women are buying more homes than single men.
yes.
Yes.
So
Yes.
how about a video? The punchline that I always kind of kick these single dudes that are living in their mother's basement,
Right.
Yes.
where you make a video of that guy sitting there playing Xbox,
Right.
and
then
really,
showing the hardworking girl out there
Right.
hustling and buying a
Buying
house.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, we can help both of you, but only one of you can help yourself.
can brokerages or
Something, you know.
teams speak to that buyer in that way?
100%.
Right.
But you might also be speaking to, if you look at like Europe, where so many of the properties are acquired by families for their children, right? And certainly we saw that a lot in the US, where we're
Yeah.
like, we have so much equity in our house. And we're like, I'll carve out some equity. I'll help my kid buy a house,
For
right?
sure.
Like you can tell all those stories, right? The fundamental problem that we face right now is what's the difference between your team and the next team and the next team and this color brand and that color brand? And, like, I got a purple jacket on, you got a black jacket. Like everybody's kind of the same. And when everybody's the same, nobody's special.
Right.
So what happens is we win at the door, right? We win at the table because you're a killer at the table, right? You're a killer at the table. But if you save all your best stuff for at the table,
Right.
then what you don't get is
The
millions and
at-bats,
millions and
yeah.
millions of tables,
Right.
You fight and scrap to incremental gains to get tables versus like saying something that is so ridiculously compelling. And Tim's a good example of this. Tim's videos can be so polarizing,
Yeah.
right? That people will hire him. They're like, just don't do that kind of video.
Well-
but they're still calling it saying, but we want a video.
And
want a
that's what I
video.
love the most, because we always talk about this too, is like most times when people are calling us, it's like they already know us. So you're not even really having
1000%.
to like sell yourself
Yes.
anymore. It's just like, I believe in what you're doing. Where do I sign?
So let's talk about that, because we talk first, like, know your customer, right? Be comfortable going into the pain.
Right.
But then if you're talking about distribution today, I mean, my goodness, like look at the number of people that we know personally that literally there's just this, like, I go on presentations and it's effortless.
Yeah.
Because they know me, they like me, they trust me, not just because they saw a postcard
Right.
for 13 years. Josh Rubin, keep doing postcards because they
Right.
work.
Yeah,
love,
and he's
love my
vertical
guy.
living.
Yeah.
Right? And he's vertical living. So in New York City, But when you add the element of your personality, where you start to scale who you really
Right.
are,
Yeah.
so the expectation, like if this one had photos of him with like an open shirt and like big smiles on his face all the time, and that was his postcard, and then his personality showed up,
Yeah, no.
people would be like,
Yeah.
wait, who is this guy, right? He's a little buttoned up.
Yeah,
He's
I'm a
pretty
little buttoned up.
intense,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like if every one of your photos was like,
Yeah. No, I mean,
Right?
you
Nicole says
like
you got too many buttons sometimes.
sometimes there's a lot of buttons.
yeah,
But,
but you with
but
me?
that's
So
who he is.
video allows you to
Yeah.
scale who you are,
For
which is
sure.
also why most people are afraid to do it. Most people are afraid to do it because either they're afraid to get caught, they're afraid they're going to say something stupid. They actually think, what if someone doesn't like me? My response is, you want people to not
Well,
like you.
I think that's the most
So they
important
never
thing.
call.
Well, that's the most important because it's now you're not having to deal with that
Yes.
like uncomfortable, terrible
Right.
transaction. Because
Right.
if you have a bad transaction, 9 times out of 10, it's because you guys didn't even really jive from the beginning.
Right.
You said it today, and one of our team members, Katrina, looks at me and she goes, I have more videos not posted on my phone than posted.
Yes.
Then the next words came out of your mouth. Everybody knows what you already look like. And she's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I just
it.
post.
Yeah.
You got time for one more segment? One more racket?
Sure.
Uh-oh.
All right. One more racket question for TF, then we got to get him out of here. Going back to brokerage.
Yeah.
Every brokerage wants mortgage attached to the
Yes.
deal.
Yes.
They're pushing for
mortgage, title, closing services, insurance.
Correct.
Insurance.
But
Yep.
certainly mortgage and I would say 99% of brokerages are just saying to their agents, just use our mortgage just because,
Mhm.
you know, it'll keep it all in-house, do it. You know, and they got rest with things that they can't do some things and all of that. Everybody's coming for that business. Absolutely everybody's coming for mortgage. And I think
Yes.
Zillow's only shot is if they get in it, right?
Sure.
So, but I'm not going to ask you about Zillow.
Zillow, HomeLight,
yeah, everybody.
everybody. Everyone's figured out the game. Okay, let me give you the numbers. I remember we talked about it a couple days ago in Napa. In 2018, the number I showed you guys was 2018. There was $89 billion in commission revenue. So that's the top line revenue into a real estate brokerage, right? Or a team, right? The
Right.
commission revenue, $89 billion. But on core services, it was $1.87 trillion.
Huge difference.
So first of all, it's not impossible, but it's extremely challenging to have a high margin business today as a brokerage
Right.
without
Without
thinking
that.
Yeah.
one-stop shop, core
Right.
services, got to have it all, got to have the menu of services, got to be able to provide all that
Right.
to a customer, which is what the customers always wanted anyway.
Well, but
So-
honestly, I mean, and I don't mean to interrupt here, but even just to the agent though, too.
Right.
I
And-
mean, to make it easier for the agent to do
And
their
It's what all
business.
great agents do anyway. You're like, I got my
my guy.
escrow guy,
Yep.
I got
Got
my
my guy.
title girl,
Yeah.
the mortgage is gonna be
Yeah.
fine.
Right.
Like I got
Right.
because I'm gonna take care of you.
Right.
Brokerages are just trying to do that at scale, but it's almost like they have to because it's the margins on mortgage are shrinking.
Yeah.
The margins on real estate brokerage have been shrinking forever.
For sure.
So if you don't have these, you're a broker.
Yeah. And every agent listening knows, oh, I feel that way. My broker wants me to use,
Yeah.
but I've got the relationship and this is a relationship
Of course. Always.
business. So kind of going back even to the first
Yeah.
racket, how do brokers create an experience where they're actually adding value in the mortgage
Yeah.
transaction other than just use it because?
Well, I mean, I hope that there's not many brokers that actually just say use it because. I hope that they say, let me introduce Nicole. Nicole, tell them about yourself. You're a mom of 3, right? Tell them about that one deal that we did in 3 days that we were able to get the loan closed, right? Or, hey, let me introduce you to Byron. Like, Byron, tell them about what you do and how you offer, and you're the best at whatever the service is, right? It's all relationships and connections, right? And the real world is
So hiring better people.
It's hiring better people. It's introducing them the right way. It's storytelling. It's case studies. It's like training an agent today and saying, look at these 2 offers. You tell me which one got accepted and why. And they're like, oh, so I see the right model, right? So if I keep hearing stories over and over again that Nicole is like save the day loan officer,
Right.
the one you go to when your buddy Frank screws up, Nicole can get it done in 3
That
days.
was a good name to use, actually.
Yeah.
That may
Easy. Go
be,
easy.
like, that may, I don't know. I have no idea what I'm
it's
talking
okay.
about right now, but
It's okay. You don't want to.
I could have called him Phil or Phyllis,
No,
but
no,
you
Frank
know,
was
like,
that was
perfect.
perfect. That was
That
perfect.
was perfect.
but the point is, oftentimes you want to have, if I'm a broker, I want to say, well, look, I just want to be your spare tire.
Yeah.
Right. I want to be your spare tire until I earn your trust.
Right.
Right. Let me be your, that thing in the back of your car you hope you don't ever have to use.
Yeah.
But in a pinch, Nicole has funded loans in 72 hours. And I'm, just giving you examples
Yeah.
like that kind we were able to pull title and solve
Right.
every possible
Yeah.
problem.
Right.
Does the 30-year fix look the same in 5 years from today, or is there massive innovation?
We were in that conversation, then we're going to bracket number 4 here. So we were in that conversation yesterday. I will say in my meeting with Greg this afternoon, I want to unpack more of that, because we do know that like in Europe, that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Right. And there is so much innovation happening around money right now around the world, not just crypto, not just all that, but like everybody's looking at the game and saying it could be done better. It's been a long time since we have evolved in that area. It's still pretty basic. You know, it works. It's a system that works. Like, you know, if your kid has like strabismus, like that same surgery still works 30 years later. But the way we're innovating and the way we're evolving today, and the millennial generation and the generation behind them, I think there's a better approach. So we'll see.
All right.
Good.
I know you got to run.
I do.
Really
Appreciate you guys.
you.
Appreciate
Thank
you always. Thanks for having me on the show. I really do appreciate it. So I'm out.
Tom is out. We're going to continue with a couple other things.
Are we?
Yeah.
Sounds like that was a great.
I feel like I just ended the show.
I wish we did.
Tom ended it. Keep it real.